Countering Digital Hate, which is behind the analysis, and Tom Kirsting, psychotherapist and author of Raising Healthy Teenagers. Imran, I'll start with you to talk about the study specifically. I'm not surprised by this at all because we've talked about what happens on Facebook and what happens on Instagram and the kind of impact that it has, especially on younger kids that are, particularly vulnerable. But TikTok is going at this every 39 seconds. What kind of content are we talking about here?
Well, I think the most striking content that I saw was a video of a razor blade with the words, "I missed the touch of you on my skin," set to sentimental music. And this stuff is being pumped to kids every 39 seconds, as you say. These were new accounts that we set up in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. We found the earliest that suicide and self-harm content was delivered was within 2.5 minutes of a new account being set up. It really is an utter dereliction of duty by TikTok that they've allowed their algorithm to do this to 13-year-old girls. That's how old the girls were in our study. Yeah, and we've talked about it, just to put this in context, with Instagram and Facebook, about some of the imaging that they show. Not quite like this. What you're describing is really could be very traumatic. But we talk about the impact of showing photoshopped pictures of women who are skinny women, making people feel like they're overweight or that they don't fit in. Some of those things that could be interpreted that way. This content is directly really harmful. Tom, I'm wondering from your perspective as a psychotherapist, what you think the impact of this is on kids. How do they absorb this? How do they internalize it?
So I witnessed the impact here at my private practice on a daily basis. In fact, I've been lecturing on this topic since 2009 all over the country about the impact of social media on kids' mental health. And when you look at 2021, for example, between February and March of 2021, suicide attempts by girls between the ages of 12 and 17 went up 51%. Right, and that's in the middle of COVID, when everybody was at home, sitting in front of their computers. And it's been going on for a long time, the social media. It's not like COVID created this. COVID escalated it. So we have a mental health epidemic on our hands that we've had on our hands since 2012, when smartphones first came out. And now, as the algorithms get stronger, all of this messaging, all of this imaging is being directly sent into the malleable brains of the most innocent and most vulnerable, our kids. Yeah, and technology has a dark side, which I'm going to talk about in the next segment as well. But Imran, what do you suggest can be done about this? Is there anything that can be done about this? I mean, obviously, Congress is talking about proposing bans on TikTok that would impact government phones, right? Because we're worried about the information dump that ends up in China, and they want to move forward in a bipartisan way to make sure possibly that TikTok can't do business here, that the app can't be on your phone. I mean, is that the only way to combat it? Well, look, these are weapons-grade algorithms, and we're in this algorithmic arms race right now. Every platform's trying to make their platform more and more addictive. So if TikTok was banned, there's still other platforms that are trying to emulate TikTok's addictiveness and the danger of it. This is the sort of social media equivalent of a razor blade in candy, attractive package, but lethal inside. And it's absolutely crucial that we get comprehensive legislation that forces companies to think about the dangers to children in particular before they design their products. Yeah. I know that this is a bipartisan issue. I know Senator Blumenthal and Senator Blackburn, so from both sides of the aisle, have come together with the Kids Online Safety Act. And I think something like that would be very valuable in protecting American kids and kids all over the world, frankly. I hear what you're saying, that basically if you take something away, it'll be replaced with something else that's equally as bad. And I think about this company Vine. I don't know if you remember hearing about it, but it was one of the ones that Twitter bought, and then it was eventually shut down. And everybody said that if Vine had stayed independent and had continued down the trajectory it was going, it would have turned into TikTok. It was TikTok before TikTok was TikTok. And having said that, these companies are very pervasive. So I'm wondering what you think, Tom, about what parents can do right now to try to help their children, because I think education, parental intervention, these are the kinds of things that kids need. Yeah, well, parents first and foremost have to practice what they preach. The average kid is spending somewhere between 8 and 9 hours a day in front of a screen, and the average adult is spending around the same amount of time. So what we need to do is rescue our kids. We have to get them back into our world, and we can't allow social media, their devices, and everything else out there to be the parents for them. That includes even when you're in your car with your kid. I was talking about this morning on a radio show. The 5-minute rides to car, don't let your kid be on the phone. They need us to communicate with them. They need to be with us at the dinner table. That is the most important part. The most important component of their mental health is the relationship they're going to have with their parents.
Yeah, and every time we talk about this particular subject, I always talk about my experience with social media over the last decade or so. And there have been times I've really gotten sucked into it, and it's had a bad impact on me. But as an adult, I'm able to step back and manage that relationship myself. It's the kids that need the guidance from the parents, as you suggest, to help them with that. And I always think if I experienced that, imagine if you were 13 years old, Imran, as you suggested there. So this is a conversation we'll continue to have. I appreciate you guys coming on to talk about it. Imran, Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.